Audio syncing. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Tiny Mini Acrylic Painting Series. We've got a special episode today because a while back in the comments I asked hey crowd, strangers on the internet, do you have any suggestions on what I should paint next? And then I got an awesome comment from Mr. Tatak. Can you paint maybe something with lots of stars in the sky and maybe nighttime, just like Starry Night? All right, cool, I can do that. I got a little mini canvas set up. We're gonna get to it straight away. I've got a good feeling about this one. This is gonna be great. Enjoy, everybody. Alrighty, everybody, it's time to get to work on this tiny little painting. Don't need the tiny easel. We can chuck that out. Get it out of here. We'll get back to you later. And what I have on my brush right here is not black. Definitely not black. But a mix of brown, mostly blue, and a tiny bit of rose. And that's what creates this beautiful, not quite black, but more like a purpley, dark blue nighttime color. And I've added in a tiny bit of mixing white and a tiny bit of blending medium to create this beautiful kind of like glowy spot in the middle. And with that white on the brush in that old color, I drag it down all the way towards the bottom, making sure I have a great background layer and color palette for us to work with. Got to make sure I cover everything. I almost forgot that bottom part. Whoopsies. And just going back in with the same dark color, just a little bit of blending medium. I kind of wanted, because this canvas is a little bit coarse, might take a layer or two to cover everything up. So sometimes you see like little specks of the original canvas color. Just making sure that I cover everything, but I didn't want to overwork the sky too much. I kind of like it when it has these streaks, kind of like diagonal and a little bit horizontal going across the sky, as if there's like super high clouds up somewhere, or like it's not a perfect gradient, if you know what I mean. I kind of like those kind of skies where there's things going on, there's like different airflows visible, those kind of things. So I'm gonna leave it the way it is right now. And what I've got right here is a fan brush along with a painter's knife. And if you, let me get the right angle for this thing. I think we're gonna spin a little bit. There we go. If you flick your fan brush along the edge of this knife, you're gonna splatter that paint all over your canvas. And look at the starry night sky that just appeared. Super easy, super fun technique. You can keep going if you want. You can add as many stars as you want. Just a quick little tip that the first couple flicks, it's probably good to just like get the big blobs of paint off of your fan brush. So when I flicked it the first couple times, I did it next to my little painting. Otherwise, your stars are going to be maybe a smidge too blobby. So you want to get rid of the big blobs first. And then afterwards, you aim it at your canvas. And you can go nuts. You can add as many as you want. So Mr. Tatak, the Starry Night Sky, super easy to do. I hope you pick up something from this technique. And try it at home. Should be lots of fun. And it works every single time. It's great. So onwards with a foreground. Because, man, that was quick. That was a quick Starry Night Sky. In the foreground, I mixed up kind of a similar color as we used for the sky earlier. I just added in a little bit more rose, and I'm definitely not adding in any of the mixing white until maybe to haze up some of the bottoms of these hills, but we definitely wanted this part to be a little bit darker than the sky, just to set it apart a little bit. And general rule of thumb, I think I say this every episode, but things that are closer to you, they have higher contrast, so they can be a little bit darker. So that's what we did just here. Mixed up a very dark color just to set it apart from our background and from our sky. And I'm using that same dark color here with a very small, thin brush to layer in some trees here. Now to do this, I make sure that I have a lot of paint on this brush, but we actually don't use a whole lot of paint from that brush. Every time I load it up, I make sure my brush is all chiseled and sharp at the very end of it, like a very sharp tip. And then just using a very light touch at the very tip of that brush. Like this is the smallest brush I have pretty much. I just gently pull it across with that sharp chiseled edge. And that's how you get sharp trees and not blobby trees. We don't really, I mean, blobby trees can be cool too, but I'm going for pine trees here. And they're generally pretty sharp at the very top. So I'm using the very chiseled edge of the brush to get that done. And then to put the leaves on him, I just kind of work my way down from top to bottom and let my brush wiggle left and right. And then I apply a little bit more pressure as I get towards the bottom of that tree to release a little bit more paint off the brush. And then the tree kind of gets fatter towards the bottom, which is a healthy kind of tree if it's fat across the bottom. It's kind of like the same with humans too. They need a little bit of fat about the bottom too. Not that I can say much. I'm a skinny dude. But back to trees, Pete. Talk about the trees. Oh yeah. So we're using that same technique over and over again, making sure I reload my brush pretty much after every single tree, just because we're only using the very tip of this brush. It runs out of paint very quick. So you got to reload often. It also means that painting a lot of detail in these trees takes a little bit of time. So Starry Night Sky doesn't take a whole lot of time. Painting these trees does take a little bit of your time. But that's okay. We got time. We can take it easy. And I think it's going to look sick. So that's our first layer. And then towards the very, very foreground, I make sure I darken my color even more. Just add in more brown, more blue, more rose. Mix up this very dark color. I may have added just the slightest hint of black in this foreground, but just the tiniest touch you can imagine. Because black, I don't use it very often because it tends to just like drain all the life out of your color. So I only have a very small tube of black, and it's all I ever need because I try not to use it very much because it just makes the color go dull. And I definitely wanted to keep that vivid dark blue purplish hue in this color, so be careful with that. The trees can be a little bit bigger here because obviously they're closer to us, so we're gonna make these a touch bigger. And it's pretty cool if they kind of overlap the trees in the background because that gives your painting a little bit of depth. And Bob Ross does the trick all the time where he gets to the end of the episode and he's like, oh, we need a big tree in the foreground, and then you're like, no, don't do it. But in the end, it does turn out to make the painting look better, give it more depth. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Over here on the right, I'm going to load up my brush. And then kaboom, just drop in a big tree over here on the right. Making sure I'm still using that very sharp chiseled edge of the brush. Putting it down at the very top. And then just gentle taps, left and right wiggles. To make the tree a little bit fatter towards the bottom. And that's how we do it. Takes a little bit of time creating these details, but it's definitely worth it. You just got to be a little bit patient with it and have fun with it. Making sure you separate each and every individual tree. That's about it for our painting. I'm just going to drop a little signature at the bottom here because I'm so proud of this one. I think it turned out so nicely that I'm actually signing it. I don't sign all of my works, even though I should. You should probably too. But this one, I made sure I took the time to put my signature on it. So I'm stoked on this one. Hope you had lots of fun. I will see you in a bit at the wrap up. All right, everybody. So that was the painting. This is the result. I'm super happy with it. I think it turned out great. You can let me know how it did in the comments below. Drop them. I had a lot of fun painting this episode, though. It's probably one of my favorite little ones that I've done. So, Mr. Tatak, thank you so much for your suggestion. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Next episode is going to be a Halloween special because that's also a request from the comments by Valerie. So Valerie, stay tuned. We got a creepy cemetery coming up for next week's episode. Stay tuned for that. If you have any suggestions or requests for stuff that you'd like me to paint, drop them in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and then we will catch you on the next episode, everybody. Have an awesome day. It's raining today. I'm going to stay inside, although the surf might be good, so maybe I'll go surfing later. Who knows? Anyways, I hope you have an awesome day. Pew!